Hi, I'm Mathilde Bichet, and we're back with another episode of How I Got In. And this time I am speaking to a fellow My College Timeline intern, Thatiana delaRosa.
Hi, I'm Thatiana. I'm currently at Hofstra and I'm 21 years old.
We'll get right to it, and we'll start out by asking a little bit of your family background. Where did you grow up? What was your home experience like, especially when starting to connect it to, college experience and college application process. So if you want to just give me a bit of a background about how you grew up and where you grew up.
So I was born and raised on Long Island, specifically in West Babylon. My parents are both immigrants, but I live with my mother. She's a single mother. She came here on her own back in the 90s. So I've been living with her ever since I was born, obviously. Growing up, it was just me and her, my grandmother. I went to school, did what I had to do. They always were there to push me forward and always push me to go to college and whatnot. And so growing up on Long Island as a person of color and as a Latina, but I feel like I've been able to overcome the hardships and whatnot. And going through high school and all that was made pretty easy with the help of my counselors and teachers. So I feel that was a pretty seamless experience for me.
You said your experience in Long Island was growing up as a person of color. It was different. So if you want to connect that now to what your high school experience like and what your school experience was like, did you attend a small high school? Where did you go to? Because I'm also from Long Island and I grew up in a mostly predominantly white area where in my high school we didn't really have a lot of people of color. So if you wanted to give me your experience and also relate it back to your personal life, go ahead.
Yeah. Went to New Babylon High School. As I said, it's pretty predominantly white. There were a few people of color here and there, but it was still kind of hard to fit in because everyone there was pretty much white and not like me. So it was kind of hard for me to try to get used to the whole culture and try to fit in. But I feel that my teachers definitely, again, they helped me be able to fit in and get into those hard classes and be able to rise up against all the odds and whatnot. So my high school it's like small, but kind of large, a medium sized school, I would say. So they had a lot of resources for college application and also trying to push students to go forward. I feel that they were also big on trying to become more diverse. So when I was there, they weren't as diverse, but as the years have gone on, I've heard stories from other students that have been graduating after I did. They're working on being more inclusive of all races and all backgrounds. So I feel that my school, even though it is in a predominantly white neighborhood, it has been able to become a little bit more diverse than most other schools, I would say.
So you mentioned that you were actually encouraged by your counselors and your teachers to join those AP classes. I assume, I don't know what programs your school was running. So what other kinds of resources did your school have? Did you feel like you were becoming well prepared? And also to relate to it, was the idea of going to college something that was in your head from the beginning, either implemented by yourself, by your parents, by your teachers? So if you want to relate it back to that too, I would love to hear more about that.
In high school, my main source of help when it came to college and just being able to take those AP classes and trying to do early college, it came mainly from the counselors. And then eventually you would create a relationship with their teachers because they were the ones that they ended up being with in your classes, obviously. So they were always there to help you out when it came to what college you wanted to go to. They gave me tips on where I should go based on my major and whatnot. They're really helpful in being able to push me to want to go to college, even though my idea of college was in my head way before even high school even started. Because my mother's idea of success is graduating high school, going to college, graduating college, getting your degree, and then getting a job. So her idea for me was to do just that. And that kind of was put into my head at an early age. So obviously, when I went to high school, my goal was to graduate with really good grades and then get into a really good college and pursue a degree that I would love to pursue. Obviously, college for me has always been the goal, and I feel like I've been able to make that goal a reality in the past couple of years.
Your mom obviously wanted you to go to college, from what I understand from this conversation, and you as well. What was the process like? Because did your mom help? I know personally for me, I was also new to the whole application process system. I did have my stepmom who went to college here. So what was it like for you? Did you have a lot of help from home? Did you also depend a lot in your counselors? What was the process like? Challenging, easy to navigate?
The whole college application process was kind of just put all on me. I had to do all the work. My mother doesn't know much English, so she couldn't really help me with the application as much. I am a first gen student. Basically, I had to depend on the school to help me know when to apply, where to apply to, and how to apply. So the guidance counselors approached us in our junior year, and they offered us like resources on how to apply to college. They had college fairs for us to go to. They also had a thing called Naviance. It's like a college application kind of thing that we used.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we had that for the deadlines. So I had that definitely to depend on, and then eventually ended up being also my own research on how to apply to college and where to apply to. I had to find the schools that I wanted to go to.
When you were, was the financial component a factor in your decision at all? Was that something that worried you before applying, or was that not a concern at all? Just because I know that, especially in America, the tuition is extremely high.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's something that almost everyone needs to consider. But I
Mhm.
was just hoping to get your view on that.
So as I said, I had four choices for college. Two of them were private, then two of them were public. So obviously the public ones, they were in the SUNY system, and then through them, I would be able to apply for financial aid and basically not pay a thing because of the Excelsior. So I chose those two because of that. And then I had Hofstra and St. Joseph's also on my list to apply to. They were both private. I ended up going to Hofstra because from there I got a really big scholarship, and I thought that because Hofstra's a good school, I should definitely go there with the big award that I got. So definitely when it came to applying to college and choosing college, financial aid was a big aspect because obviously we're not all rich. We don't all have the money to just throw at schools, obviously. So I was definitely looking for the best school that gave me the best award, and ultimately kicking that to Hofstra being the one that offered me the big award despite based on my major, which is accounting.
When you finally applied and you decided the school to go to, you seem to already know what you wanted to do before that. I don't know if you had already picked your major going into school. So, what made you want to choose accounting? Well, if you were already aware of what you wanted to do at school, did that make you feel more prepared and more relaxed once you started college? Or was the major something that just came to you while you were taking classes?
I think from the beginning of my high school career, I wanted to go into the medical field. I wanted to go into medical and work in there. So then finally my junior year, I took an anatomy and physiology class. And in that class is when I realized I did not want to be in the medical field at all. I wanted to be a PA, like a physician assistant, and work in that. But then after taking A&P, I was like, I can't deal with the medical field. It's a great field for anyone that wants to go into it. Obviously, like, for me, I just can't deal with the nitty gritty and like going into someone's body, and it's just not for
Mhm.
me. So then after realizing this, I had to look into like what I wanted to do, like what did I like as a person, and why did I like what could I do in the future that could definitely help me
Mhm.
succeed and be successful in the future. So I think I took a couple quizzes, like those career quizzes that went online or whatever, and those kind of helped me to realize that I like to work with numbers. I like to read numbers or whatever it is. I like math. So obviously accounting is like that big thing with the numbers. So obviously I looked more into accounting, and through there I was able to see that I wanted to do an accounting. And then finally, when I got to college, I took my first accounting course, and I really loved it, even though the class was pretty hard because the professor wasn't the
Mhm.
greatest. But the material that I saw was pretty much what I wanted to do in the future. So after my first year of college, I definitely wanted to stay in accounting and pursue a degree in accounting.
So, obviously, how was your college experience like? Was it difficult to adapt? Obviously, we're still
Excuse me.
staying in the same area. What was your experience like going into college? Was it something that did you find it challenging to adapt? Did you commute? Did you stay at home, or did you live on campus?
I came to going to school. Hofstra was only like a half hour away from my house. I didn't mind the drive. Living on campus wasn't really an option for me because I'm a little picky when it comes to like where I want to live and like where I want to sleep. So I didn't want to like try living on campus at all because I didn't want to like be uncomfortable and then want to like be go home like a day later. I didn't feel comfortable at my dorm. So I chose to live at home and commute back and forth from school. I like to commute, even though traffic was always kind of annoying, but I always ended up making the best out of it and trying to get used to the whole traffic thing and going to school, even though it was pretty far. But my first year of college wasn't that bad. I thought it would be because I was able to take classes that were pretty like intro or like easy for me to start off, and then eventually got into the harder classes, and that kind of helped because I know a lot of students they take the harder classes first, and then they kind of like just get stuck. But for me, I feel like I took a lot of easy classes first, and then now took all the harder ones. Now that I have more experience in college and like have more I guess knowledge. So for me, the whole experience has been all right. Obviously, I have my ups and downs where like the class is too hard or I feel like I can't make it. But in the end, I always do make it. We always make it. So I feel that even though college is hard, as hard as it is, I was able to succeed and get here 4 years later and about to graduate.
Following up on that, you're taking your hard, difficult classes now. How has it been with the pandemic? Because you're in your senior year, right?
Hmm.
Has it been impacted a lot by the pandemic? Has it become harder? What's your experience been like?
When the pandemic started back in March of this year, I was kind of happy because like, yay, no more school, like for 2 weeks or whatever it was. But then things got worse, and then I ended up staying home for the rest of the semester for like 2, 3 months or however long it was. And I feel that it was pretty hard for me to adapt because I hadn't been used to taking classes at home in the comfort of my own room. So I wasn't as focused as I should have been. But eventually I got used to it after like a month or so. I was able to get back on track with my schoolwork and hand in my assignments as I should have, and just try to get through the end of the semester. And then when the spring semester ended, I also had summer break, and then I was just home all day, every single day, doing nothing because like I had no job. I was let go of my job. I was furloughed, so I had nothing to do. I was just at home. So I think getting into that groove of just doing nothing all day, every day, up until September, kind of messed me up for the semester because now I'm like kind of lazy. But even though I was kind of lazy, I still have work to do, so I kind of have to like do those because then again, this is my last year of college. I got back into the groove, did what I could to try to make things better. I mean, it wasn't easy because everything's online now, and it's not as easy as being in class to ask questions or to actually know what's going on. So what I did was I made my desk a bit more, I guess, me friendly to make it more like so that I would stay there and actually do my work while I was at my desk. And I mean, it helps for like the first like 3 months, but then things got hard in my classes. So I got kind of like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. But now I was able to do my finals and get through the end of the semester and be able to just say that I'm done with the fall and be good with that.
If you could look
Hmm.
back now into your high school experience, your college application experience, is there something you would say to yourself back then, or even giving advice to people who are going through the process right now, especially if they're first gen and if they are a person of color? Are there any advice? Is there any advice that you would give, or that you would have liked to have redone, or been like, oh, everything's going to be okay, if you felt very, very overwhelmed?
Oh yeah, totally. I feel like the first thing I'll tell myself is to focus more on school than your friends and then in your social life. Because I'm not that social, but I had my little group of friends that I always hung out with, and I tended to like leave my schoolwork aside to hang out with them. So if in high school I had focused more on trying to get like those college credits also in high school, I feel like I would have done a lot better in college with the workload in class. My high school offered an early college program, but I chose not to do that because I didn't think that I would have time to do that. But looking back now, it would have been really helpful to take those science courses or those like easy little intro to like math or whatever courses also in high school, and then apply those to my degree when I went to Hofstra, because that would have definitely helped me, um, maybe even graduate a little bit earlier than I would. So definitely I would say to focus on school and focus on what you can do to advance your degree while still in high school. And that's pretty much it that I would tell myself and to anyone that's applying to college on my end, I would say.
That was a great answer. I love talking to you much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Right.
so much, Tatiana, for talking to me.
Thank
I know it
you.
might have been a little hectic. We can't meet in person, which is sad, but stay safe. And
You
if there's
too.
any last words that you want to say, and even just say, bye. Like, this was just another episode of How I Got In, and I'm
Hmm.
Mathilde Bechet.
So yeah, thank you for interviewing me, Mathilde. I really enjoyed this experience. So I love to share my experience whenever I can with future students. I hope that everyone that wants to apply to college or just pursue a career, anything they want, I wish them the best of luck. Obviously, I want them to be able to succeed, and I love to share my experience. So if anyone has any questions, they can always reach out to me or anything like that. Thank you.
Welcome. And again, I'm Mathilde Bechet, and this was another episode of How I Got In with my college timeline.